Well, namaste, this is an issue I know personally because I spend a lot of time in yoga pants. Is a yoga instructor actually a vocational school? The state wants to turn yoga teachers into, I don't know what you do it, technical institutions. Patrick Harrison, thank you for being here. Kindness Yoga? Harrington.
Yeah, there you go, that's good. Kindness Yoga.
I'm not being very kind. Gina, Caputo, thank you for being here. You're with the Colorado School of Yoga.
Yes.
All right, let me see if I understand the universe here because this is a little out of my field. You run several yoga studios at which yoga teachers come and teach classes.
That's right.
You have 4 of them.
That's right.
Where are they, by the way, so people can come and...
Capitol Hill, South Broadway, Cherry Creek North, and Hilltop.
And it's called Kindness Yoga, and it's a place to learn yoga.
That's right.
Popular, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Business good?
Business is good.
All right. Now, you're part of a school, but you teach people how to do yoga, and you also teach people how to teach yoga. Is that the right way to put it?
I like to teach people about yoga, yep.
What does that mean about yoga?
So when we have these public classes that you could come to any day of the week, we often have only an hour with students, and a lot of them are expecting a very physical experience. So we go through poses, but what happens is it takes a pretty skilled teacher to be able to drop in some of the philosophy or the breadth of the path of yoga in that little tiny time. So we have programs outside of those 1-hour experiences where you can actually delve a little deeper and learn a bit more about what you could call the deeper dimensions of yoga beyond just the physical postures that we call asanas.
Asanas.
Yes.
Those are the poses.
Yes.
And they all have weird names.
Oh, yes.
All right. So some people do it for that, but also some people find this to be somewhat spiritual. Would I be hitting that the right way? That this is a way to calm themselves, is a way to get in touch with the universe, kind of the way I do with scotch.
Right.
Okay.
Kind of like that, exactly.
So
it's like a ritual.
Do you consider what you do a vocational school, that you're teaching people how to repair refrigerators and go out there and have a career in refrigerator repair? Is it comparable?
Well, I think it's really great. The majority of people that come to the teacher, deeper instruction, they don't go and make it a career, but it would be something that complements their life if they're teaching a class anywhere from being at a gym or at a church to teaching at a yoga studio. And there certainly are people that do make it into a career.
Did you have any idea, Gina, that this was going to fall upon you from the state? Because as you're looking for spiritual enlightenment and physical well-being to get this, what is this?
I'll have to be honest, I wasn't that surprised because I went through this already with my yoga studios in the state of Missouri, who also decided to do this, and I got that fat packet that said all the same things, but Department of Higher Education, state of Missouri on it.
Now it says Division of Private Occupational Schools, part of the Department of Higher Education. Laura Chandler is the director, and she decided to drop this on you to do what? And here it is. Regulation Determination Questionnaire. What is it that they asked you out of the blue?
Well, this first questionnaire that we got seemed very, very superficial in the sense that some of the questions are, what is your name? What is your address? And very, very top-level questions about the nature of the programs that I have been offering. And it's from my very brief answers that they determined I should be regulated. And I have a problem with that because there's not a single question about the curriculum, the nature of my relationship with the students, what do they do with the knowledge that they get, not any questions about statistics, like how many people do go on to be full-time teachers, part-time teachers, where are they teaching? They didn't ask the right questions, and then the answer was this packet. Fill it out, Gina.
Yeah. By the way, I know you make an hourly wage contract out to do this. So in your meantime, could you please fill out this to decide whether or not we should continue to do this for every student and every property you have? Because you guys are kind of like big tobacco, that you've got the money and time to deal with this stuff. What did you get?
Same packet, absolutely. And it feels out of touch. It doesn't feel like the people that are purporting to regulate our industry have any knowledge whatsoever about yoga or about our schools or the nature of them. And it really came out of the blue, and it doesn't feel like there's been any dialogue or interest in even knowing what it is that we do. So yeah, it doesn't feel applicable. It doesn't feel like the people that are going to regulate know even what we do.
Pardon my suspicion here, but I have seen this scam in state after state where something looks like we could regulate it, and let's find a way to have certification of it.
Yeah.
I've known people, for instance, in other states who are interior designers who, people either like your style or don't like your style, but one company says, we're going to certify our people through some sort of certification program. And what we then want to do is force our competitors to do the same thing, either go through our certification, or if you don't, then have the government put you out of business because what you do is so very dangerous. By the way, how many people have died in your yoga studios?
Oh, only a dozen.
Only
or so.
a dozen, so I figure.
Yeah.
So, what did this start off with? I mean, tell me a little bit about what could be regulated about what you do. You teach people not only poses, but you go into spiritual questions. The mind-body connection. This is not the kind of stuff that we're going to figure out in 3 minutes. But what is it you do?
Well, I think it would be difficult to regulate. Something that we were chatting about before we came in here with you is that even within the scope of two things called yoga teacher training or something along those lines, yoga is broad enough that what I may be offering is different from what he's offering. And I don't know how one would regulate which is right, which is wrong, without being, I don't know, Buddha? Right.
Actually, that's a beautiful way to put it, because what makes Colorado and life special is that everybody has different tastes and different styles.
Yes.
I like the way this doctor does this. I don't like the way that doctor does that.
Yes.
Of course, these are not doctors. I like the way this author writes. I like this guy's teaching. I like this guy's poetry.
Yeah.
So yoga is not something that is dictated by one company that says, and you probably have a better feeling of this, you have lots of instructors or teachers coming in. They probably do things very differently, don't they?
Definitely, yeah. There's lots of different lineages. Some of them, 100 years old. Some of them more innovative and more contemporary in their style. And so, different emphasis from depending on what school you came from, where you were trained, how long you've been teaching. So lots of variation. I think it's a very challenging thing to regulate. Period. And then the fact that it's a state government agency. Without any knowledge at all of the industry makes it, in my opinion, they're just not going to be able to fulfill on what they say that they're going to do, which is take care of the consumer and make sure that the schools are complying in a way that keeps people safe and kind of a buyer beware thing for the investors or people that want to invest in their education with the schools.
Let me ask you, when somebody comes to invest in their education, are any of them taking out government-backed loans in order to be in your class?
Not that I'm aware of either.
Are any of them signed up for multi-year programs where afterwards they get certified and now they've got something? Or is it something that they can leave pretty easily if they don't like it?
Oh, they can leave pretty easily if they don't like it. And there is a kind of self-appointed group called the Yoga Alliance that does have a registry for yoga teachers for certain trainings, 200-hour or 300-hour teacher trainings. And
a customer could say, hey, are you rated with this?
Yes.
If that matters to them.
That's right.
I mean, there was a time,
Absolutely.
for instance, that a UL rating on a piece of electronics, this was Underwriter Laboratory, it meant something, and I'm going to look for it. Or I'm looking for a bond or an investment. How are you rated on Moody's? It wasn't, does the government put a stamp on it? Because once the government puts a stamp on it, you all have to do the same thing, the same way, with the same guarantees.
That would be a tragedy.
All right, talk to me a little bit about going to your class and teaching. How is that different, for instance, going to maybe a karate class or a Shotokan karate class, or then a Taekwondo class, or all these other things where you're doing some of the same things? How does this get regulated? What do you think they want? If they regulate, I guess what I'm asking is, if they regulate you for that, are they going to regulate Boy Scout trainers for teaching kids how to sharpen knives and start fires?
Well, if they were going to be consistent, perhaps they should.
Say more. Why?
Well, I think it's just arbitrary to all of a sudden pick out, yoga studios and yoga teacher trainings, let's regulate them, without taking a look at every industry in the great state of Colorado that could be regulated or considered an occupational school. And that's the part that rubs me a little wrong. It's like, well, wait, why us all of a sudden? And I personally don't have an aversion to some sort of regulation. I think it's probably healthy for our industry, but it's probably better if it was like best practices that came from a group of people that were knowledgeable.
Kind of like the association you just mentioned.
That's right.
Yeah. Instead, we have this desire to regulate that's purportedly comes from a place of concern for the students that come through our trainings. I understand that, and there's a big thing with bonding in here. And
they want you to be bonded now.
Oh yeah, bonded, and as I understand it, that is so, you asked Patrick, could someone just leave, and is that easy? And so they want to have this bond in place so that that person could get their tuition back if they decided to leave the program.
Have you ever charged something you would call tuition?
Well, for the training programs that they're looking to regulate, yes, people pay. Well, I mean, tuition is not so much. I mean, it's the cost to take the training.
Registration.
Yeah.
Right. You're taking a class.
Yeah.
It's not tuition. It's not a multi-year program. It's.
Not
I mean,
usually.
if you're into it, you study more. If you're not into it, you leave.
And
right?
hopefully there's a refund policy that
Yeah.
indicates what happens if you leave.
Right. And this is a reputation-driven business, isn't it?
I think so,
Absolutely.
yeah.
This is a lot of word of mouth.
Yes, majority. Absolutely.
And I think you go for the teacher in many cases. Short of some of the bigger programs that are like chains, you're going to go to Patrick's teacher training because
You resonate with
you
me.
resonate with Patrick. Yeah.
Do you think there was one of your competitors that decided it's time that we'll have an advantage if this, is that what started it, do you think?
That's not what I've heard.
What have you heard?
That it was an individual who was frustrated that only some yoga teacher training programs had actually complied and the rest of us were not. The Denver Post is one that said that.
Yes.
That's how I heard.
That's how you.
right.
All right, we got 20 seconds left. What do you want to be done here? Do you want them to calm down and have a discussion with you?
Have a discussion. Let's look at best practices. Look at. I really want to understand what their point is. Where does our money go? Right. And I'd like to see it tiered. So programs like Gina's that are smaller and bigger like ours, it be commensurate with the size.
Gina, thank you. Thank you. And remember, this could be your business next. We'll see you next week.